Hey everyone, I'm Spider-Man 1991, and I'm here to talk about all the comic books I read for the week of April 30th, 2014. Let's get started with the comics I read from DC. First off, we have Batman Eternal issues 3 and 4. Yeah, there we go, 3 and 4. That way you can see them a little better. All right, this is pretty much the weekly series. The weekly series continues as Batman is still looking for a connection between Professor Pig and Carmine Falcone that could help him prove Jim Gordon's innocence, because Jim Gordon got arrested after he shot an unarmed man that Gordon thought he was armed, but he shot him and apparently caused a huge subway accident that led to the deaths of a lot of people. So while Gordon's being arrested and now prosecuted, Carmine Falcone has returned to Gotham, and he's trying to bring Gotham back to the way it once was before Batman. And to do this, and Falcone's already making his move by instigating gang wars among some of the more notable criminals of Gotham, and also he's made his way back into the mayor's office by having Mayor Haiti make Major Forbes the new interim Gotham City Police Commissioner. And Forbes' first act as police commissioner is to put everything aside and try to take down Batman. And also, Batman's not the only one working on Jim Gordon's case, trying to prove Jim Gordon's innocence, but Batgirl is too, and she makes a significant appearance in this week's issue number 4, as you can tell by the cover. And pretty much Barbara Gordon, she is just pretty much not in a good place. I mean, naturally it's her father, she's worried about him, and I mean, especially now that Gordon was prosecuted and sent to Blackgate. So Batgirl's trying to prove her innocence, but she's pretty much going about it like all wrong. Like, no, she's not being rational, she's just going with instincts and stuff, and just almost accusing anyone who she thinks is suspicious. And Batman's like trying to get her to calm down, but she doesn't listen. And also, Stephanie Brown has appeared in the story as she comes to her father's house late one night and discovers he's Clue Master and part of this team of colorful supervillains. And pretty much when Stephanie finds out, her father now is trying to has to kill her in order to keep her quiet. And apparently, in issue 4, we find out that Stephanie's mom knows that he's Clue Master. So, yeah, a lot of stuff is happening in Batman Eternal. It is a weekly series, but it is only $3. I think it's great. It's really a great series because it's not just about Batman. It's pretty much about Gotham City as a whole. And they did say that this series was going to involve other members of the Bat family, and they're kind of staying true on that promise by having Batgirl involved now. And I think we might see a lot more Batgirl in this series, since we're still dealing with Jim Gordon being sent to prison. So yeah. Also, I do like the return of Carmine Falcone. Falcone, if you've read Year 1, you know that he was pretty much one of the biggest crime bosses in Gotham before Batman showed up. And now pretty much Falcone wants to retake his throne as the crime king of Gotham, so to speak. So yeah, it's very interesting, very lot of twists and turns. I mean, it's definitely a lot. It feels a lot like a larger part of the Bat universe in this series than you could get in another Batman comic. So, and also since it comes out every week, I do like the pacing of it. So, so that's pretty great as well. I would say if you're not reading any Batman title right now and you only want to get one Batman title, I would say probably choose this one over. Probably choose Batman Eternal, because we're only on the 4th issue, so you can pretty much go back and catch up real easily. And after that, and it'll just be really easy to follow. So yeah, I would say Batman Eternal issues 3 and 4 are definitely a buy, and you should if you are a Batman fan, you should definitely check this series out. Next up, Flash, annual number 3. This annual has 2 parts. One part is Barry Allen in the present, and the other part follows his future counterpart here, the Blue Flash. Alright, so pretty much in the present, Barry's is pretty much resuming work at Central City PD. The crime lab's getting started up again. They're reopening a bunch of cold cases, and it's pretty much like sort of a seeing Barry Allen in his daily routine. But here's the thing, though. Something interesting happens when Barry decides to take a run to Guatemala to pick up a fruit to Patty. By the time he leaves the police department, his coffee is hot, but when he gets back, it's stone cold, and he sings like angry at him for being 15 minutes late, but he says he was only gone for a second. That's kind of explained in the future half of this issue, where we have Blue Flash, Barry. He pretty much meets Iris pretty much meets him at the cemetery, and also in the future, Iris is apparently in a wheelchair, and and they meet at Wally West's grave. And Barry says that he wasn't there for Wally, but this time he's going to make it right. And first thing he does is he fights and kills Gorilla Grodd. And after he kills Gorilla Grodd, he decides to, and after he kills Gorilla Grodd, he says that he's going back in time to stop the accident that hurt Wally from ever happening by saying that he's going to kill himself. So yeah. Also, the thing that I said about time, how it's explained in the future, is that as Barry's fighting Grodd, he tells Grodd that the Speed Force is actually time itself, and the more people like him and Grodd, because remember in the New 52, Grodd actually has a connection to the Speed Force. He tells, and other speedsters kind of use it up. They're actually what's actually doing is apparently time is supposedly bleeding out. So, what Barry's trying to do is go back in time and kill himself. So I think that's what's going on, is that as Barry's using that's what's going on with Barry's powers. That supposedly Barry's use of the Speed Force is somehow killing time in a sense. Like it's sort of making time run out, I guess. But it looks pretty interesting. And also in the present, Barry finally meets Wally West. Yeah, well, or at least the New 52 Wally West, and they definitely did like a really opposite approach with Wally's character, because when Barry first meets Wally, pre-New 52, Wally West is pretty much this little kid from a small town who's pretty much the #1 fan of the Flash. In this story, he's actually a juvenile delinquent who doesn't like the Flash at all. And apparently, and also contrary to what I think people were thinking, Wally isn't the Reverse Flash's kid. He's actually Iris's other brother, Rudy, who's still in continuity, who I guess is still in continuity. But apparently Rudy walked out on Wally, and his mom's been missing ever since the crime syndicate took over, so Iris has been watching Wally, and that's how Wally West is brought into the New 52. I will say this. Wally West, if you are going to get this story from Wally West, just be warned, there is a lot of... I mean, I like Wally, I really do. And, I don't know, and even though I'm kind of glad we have him back, it's just not the way we all wanted. So I guess in a way, Wally's depiction of the New 52 is kind of like, is pretty much just telling all the Wally fans, I think for Wally West fans, be careful what you wish for, because Wally's back, but he's not the same. And they even kind of referenced the pre-New 52 Wally West when Barry's talking to Iris in the future, and he says, it's all because of him that Wally isn't married right now with 2 kids. That was just... I don't know, that kind of felt like a punch to the face right there, but... I will say this, The Flash right now, this story arc involving Barry's future self looks very interesting. I still have no idea exactly why he changed his costume, but I think we'll get more involved as to what occurs in the future as this story progresses. And also, the thing about Speed Force being related to time, this is written by Robert Venditti, and this kind of sounds like this sounds very similar to how he reestablished the lantern lights from Green Lantern and Blue Lanterns and Red Lanterns being part of a reservoir of light. So it kind of feels like the same thing, except this time the Speed Force is actually time. So I don't know, I guess conservation is a big theme for Robert Venditti. But overall, I would say that for this annual, it's about $5. But if you really love Wally West and you really want to know more about his new 52 appearance, I would say pick this up, and once you're done reading it, decide whether or not you want to continue it. Because or if you can get it from a friend, then I say go with that too. So really, Flash Annual, if you're a I can recommend it to Wally West fans, but I would really recommend you probably borrow it from a friend before deciding you want to continue reading this story arc. Okay, next up, now it's time for Marvel with All New X-Men number 26. Old Cyclops, the present-day Cyclops, speaks to Jean Grey about her space adventure and also how young Scott left with his dad to go explore space. And it kind of gets a little creepy, like a little creepy. You think, okay, they're holding hands. That's just a little messed up. And afterwards, Scott talks to Kitty about it, and she says, "Don't ever see me in a room. Don't ever catch me. Don't ever be in the same room with her alone again." Later, X-23, Laura tries to leave the facility, but Angel's trying to convince her not to go. But she says she wants to leave, and of course, she doesn't listen to Angel, and suddenly Laura gets attacked by a bear. Then after getting out of that situation, she supposedly sees young Cyclops, but apparently he attacks and stabs her, and then leaves. Back at the Weapon X base, Angel tells Beast and Iceman that Laura's gone, and Kate overhears them and tells them that they're going out again trying to find her, because they can't afford to lose anyone, especially since Scott just left. So, but of course, right as they're about to leave, Laura shows up again. She's bleeding out, and she tells them she says that apparently there's a shapeshifter in the room, and they don't know who it is. And so they all think and so someone says that it could be Mystique. However, the last page shows that the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants from the future that we saw in Battle of the Atom is slowly approaching the school's base. And that's pretty much the end of All New X-Men number 26. Okay, lately everything with All New X-Men for me has kind of been a hit or miss. I gotta say though, thing about Brian Michael Bendis is he uses a lot of the same villains over and over again, and he's doing this, and so he's doing the same thing with this so he's doing the same thing in this one with the Evil Brotherhood from the future that appeared in Battle of the Atom. So I would say for this story, if you haven't read Battle of the Atom yet, go pick that up before reading this because I feel like if you don't read Battle of the Atom first, you're not going to understand who these new Brotherhood of future mutants are and what they want. So I would say if you read Battle of the Atom, give this a shot. Otherwise, you can just skip it. This next comic is something that I'm pretty sure everyone has been wanting to come back for about a year and a half now. So, and they released it, and I have to admit, Marvel did release it just in time for the new movie to come out. I'm, of course, talking about Amazing Spider-Man number 1. Peter Parker is back. And pretty much this is this really is number 1 because Peter's life since he last left it is now completely different. He is a PhD. He has a doctorate now, and he's CEO of his own company. So he's still trying to adjust to all that, and he's also resuming his Spider-Man career, which his first day out as Spider-Man does have that typical Parker luck to it. And let's just say when the fight is seen by the Avengers, Spider-Woman believes, oh yeah, that's definitely Parker. That can only happen to him. I mean, really, it's a good story. I mean, the main story is pretty much Peter trying to get back to the way things were, although things are completely different now, what with him being CEO and a doctor, and also, like I just said, he did have a very, his first battle did go well, but not really because of the thing that happened to him, but you have to find out to see what happens to him. And after that, after his battle, when Peter goes back to his apartment, he discovers Anne Marie's there, and apparently she has figured out that he is Spider-Man. Now, Anna Marie was actually... Now, I don't think it's going to last long between the real Peter Parker and Anna Marie, because she fell in love with Peter Parker when he was really Dr. Octopus. And also Anna Marie, before Peter gets there, she goes to the apartment, and when she's looking for her spare key, she finds a wedding ring, and also an engagement ring, and also a list of steps to how Otto was going to propose to her. And it's just really, and so pretty much after that she discovers that he is Spider-Man, and that's where the main story ends. And this is a very thick comic. Let me just say that right now. This is actually, you can't really tell it, but this is actually pretty thick. You don't just get what's going on with Peter Parker, but you get set up for what we can expect from this series, what Dan Slott is going to be doing on this series in the near future. First of all, we get another story featuring Electro, where Electro is trying to resume his one of the top places in the supervillain underworld by first attempting another prison breakout, which he did back in the very first issue of New Avengers, and he tries to do it again this time, but unfortunately he ends up destroying the prison and killing almost every inmate in there. And after he gets back up, Electro realizes that his powers are probably messed with after Spider-Man, really Otto, messed with his powers when he did the whole Superior Six in Superior team up. And so now Electro wants revenge on Spider-Man. So that's obvious. So next issue, that starts the whole Spider-Man versus Electro story arc. And then we get another story about what happened to Black Cat ever since her first encounter with the Superior Spider-Man. Since after Otto beat the living crap out of her, Black Cat was apparently arrested, but then she escaped, and now she's pretty much stalking Spider-Man, waiting for the right moment to get her revenge. And finally, and also we get another story featuring Spider-Man 2099, and another story where Peter goes to Houston to try to figure out what happened to Kane and try to make things up, because he knew that Otto didn't really, when Kane ran into Otto, things didn't go so well. So when Peter goes to Houston, he actually finds out that Kane was actually a hero to the people, despite what happened in the Scarlet Spider's last issue, where he went full Spider on them. And Peter realizes that, Kane did some good things. He did live up to being a hero, but wherever he is now, I hope he's found peace, which is kind of a teaser for the New Warriors title. And also we get another story. Again, there are a lot of stories in this thing where that kind of kicks off the whole .1 issues that they're doing with Amazing Spider-Man, where apparently they're going back to go into more details about Peter Parker's first year as Spider-Man. And also you get a bonus book in this thing, just like with what they did with Black Widow #1 back in Superior 30. This bonus book is Inhuman #1, which was actually pretty good. Okay, I've wasted enough time going over this issue itself. What did I think of it? It is awesome, okay? Pretty much everything, I would say this issue is very jump-on friendly, okay? All the stuff I just said definitely describes a perfectly good jump-on issue right there. It is definitely new reader friendly. It is definitely reader, and when I say new reader friendly, I mean everyone seeing who's like, oh man, Amazing Spider-Man #1 got out, maybe I should get into it, or oh yay, Otto's gone, I can read Spider-Man again. This is for you, seriously, if you haven't read Spider-Man in a while, and let's face it, a lot of people did after the whole Mind Swap thing. So yeah, this is definitely your point to jump on. The price tag though is about $6, but you really get, I would say it is actually worth it, because you really do get $6 worth of stories from this issue. So, and also the whole year one, although the one thing that I don't find necessary is that whole year one title that we have coming out. I mean, yeah, I get it that Spider-Man has, we have Amazing Spider-Man 2 coming out today, and the return of Peter Parker, but I just really think that year one Learn to Crawl isn't really necessary, because I'm probably gonna. It looks it looks a little interesting, but I also think that it might not be something that everyone's gonna jump on for immediately. So I think I'm gonna give the year one story arc try for like maybe the first couple of issues. I do like Dan Slott. I do like him writing Spider-Man because he has done some really good stories. So I do kind of look forward to it, but at the same time I'm kind of like, is this necessary? So yeah, I'll probably be doing a couple of issues for year one. But overall, Amazing Spider-Man #1. This book is definitely a buy. Enough said. All right, now for the last comic, Silver Surfer #2. Pretty much, Silver Surfer confronts the Never Queen, who you can see on the cover right here. And pretty much when Surfer attacks her and she blasts him, he suddenly experiences like almost every possible future. And apparently, the Never Queen is the embodiment of possibility. She represents almost every single event, every single turn or timeline that will ever happen to someone or the entire universe. And basically, the real reason she's trying to get to the Impericon is apparently that her heart was stolen and it's now powering the Impericon, the planet that brought Silver Surfer to try to combat her. And so basically, Silver Surfer's like, okay, that's just messed up. I'm going to go investigate this and also try to free the prisoners. But really, Surfer doesn't need it because apparently, meanwhile in the prison, Dawn Greenwood, who was taken from Earth because of her connection to the Silver Surfer, saying that she's the most important person in the Silver Surfer's life, even though he's never met her before. She's able to break out by using another prisoner's strengths, because apparently he has the ability to produce some acid that allows them to melt the cells, and she's able to get all the prisoners to escape. And back in space, Surfer decides to send his board to go find Dawn, while he sneaks in as Norrin Radd. He powers down to make sure he's not detected, and right when he goes in, he shows up. He's like, okay, gotta find Dawn, rescue her. But then suddenly he gets trampled by the tons of prisoners who are coming out. Until finally, when he gets up, he finally meets Dawn Greenwood, and that's the end of the issue. Okay, that was probably a bad recap, but yeah, that was definitely not as exciting as what I just said for Amazing Spider-Man. But okay, this is another title written by Dan Slott, and it's pretty interesting. I like this whole. This is definitely something that is definitely something that's worthy, a type of comic you read in about space, which Silver Surfer does, thankfully. And I do like the being the Never Queen, about how there's this embodiment that represents every single possible future, and it's very interesting how you get a flash of what Silver Surfer's life could be at almost every possible turn. There are a couple of ones with Dawn, some involving the Fantastic Four, one involving Galactus, where he has to serve him again. But yeah, that was a pretty cool splash page, and also I do think. They do kind of elaborate more on Dawn's, what kind of relationship Dawn has with the Surfer, where apparently, if you remember in issue 1, when Dawn was a little girl, she saw a shooting star and made a wish, and apparently that shooting star she saw was actually the Silver Surfer, so that's kind of what their connection was. And also there is some humor in this, particularly with mostly on Dawn Greenwood's side of things. So there are some funny moments, and also, yeah, I do like the twist that apparently the Impericon is using the Never Queen's heart to sort of power to power their planet. So that's something that we kind of should have seen coming. And also this issue, it does kind of set up why Dawn Greenwood would want to explore the universe with the Silver Surfer, because back in issue 1, when we were first introduced to Dawn, she's comfortable staying at the bed and breakfast that she and her dad run in Anchor Bay. But now, once she actually sees the power source in the Never Queen's heart, while escaping, she pretty much realizes that there's more to the universe, and she should see it. Little tongue twister there. But yeah, overall, Silver Surfer, it's a very fun story. It's definitely different from, most Marvel stories that are just about superheroes on Earth. This is definitely something that represents the cosmic side of the Marvel universe. I would say, and also Dan Slott's writing it. I like the guy. I think he's a good writer, so that's another reason why. So far, Silver Surfer is definitely a buy. Okay, that's it for that is it for my comic review this week. Thank you for watching. Also, like I said earlier, Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out today. I unfortunately won't be seeing it until Sunday. And please do not spoil this movie for anyone. If you do, I will hunt you down like a wild dog. Anyways, thanks again for watching. Thanks for liking, subscribing to my channel. I'm Spider-Man 1991 saying, see you later.